A man reproduces himself through his child, so when he leave here, he can just smile. But I see fit to stay here a while, maybe buy a timeshare somewhere, rock bumwear, beach chair, write a book each year. You can write yourself out of your blessings. Wreck your Lambo the first stages by driving too reckless. Time is too precious, these some obvious lessons. Please remind me to watch my step while I balance on edges. Ski on the slopes of life, slide down the Ave at night. Watching them graphing graffiti on walls, that's the sight. Cars from Germany, I be pushing the fastest type. Looking at real estate, brother, I need the asking price. Imagine another rapper making me perspire. I got more styles and more flows, plus I'm much flyer. I got more heights to reach, but I'm already higher. I'm already on to the next thing. Peace and bless, King.
What is going on? What is going on? You gotta love Nas. You gotta love Nas. Every time you listen to some of his lyrics, it's like it's timeless. And you always learn something new. So shouts out to Nas. Appreciate that song, the words to it. Let's get into it, guys. It's Monday, 7/11. 7/11. It's Monday, July 11th, second week of the second week of the month, second half of the year. We are moving, and we are moving fast. Every time I see that picture of Paul, I'm amazed because I mean this guy has his own personality right now. He thinks he's funny. He does what he wants to do. So shouts out to my son Paul. I appreciate him. Guys, we are back again. What it takes. Guys, every Monday night, 9 o'clock, tune in, ask me questions, real estate, business, what have you. I'm here for you. This is a great time for you all to interact with me on a live stage. Secondly, I want to get into it. I'm gonna do some quick housekeeping. Guys, remember Wednesdays, we got my brother Joel over there at It Starts With Me. That drops Wednesdays at around 12:30, where he interviews entrepreneurs, he interviews people in the community, has excellent conversations with them. Please go check him and his channel out over at the Tenacity Foundation. And then, of course, Fridays, we have Community Beacon. Check out Community Beacon, 6:30 every Friday. We have different topics that we discuss monthly. This month, it's coming of age. Check it out. We're declaring your independence. Last week we did our Emancipation Proclamation. Very deep and in-depth conversations. Guys, you got to check it out. I don't know who that is, but hi to you. What's going on? I appreciate you for coming and checking in here on What It Takes. So yeah, Friday 6:30 is Community Beacon, and we are going to, without further ado, if I was in Toastmasters, they told me they didn't like that. It's like much ado about nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Without letting you wait any longer, let's get into some real estate news. I'm going to share my screen for you guys. Give me one moment. Normally I already have this done. And I had time, no excuses. Boom. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the mortgage rates. They were up and down, up and down. They dropped slightly, at least compared to what's been going on recently. They did drop slightly. It's at a 5.3%, quite higher than last year at 2.9%. I guess I want to say maybe 2020 and 2021 were like, for buyers, those were excellent times. There were so many homes on the market. It was a time of uncertainty. So that's what happens. Guys, people make their best moves during times of uncertainty. And oftentimes when you really, really look at it, if you turn off the news, there really isn't any uncertainty. There really isn't any uncertainty. I mean, barring the United States just essentially not being here anymore, things happen cyclically. We have our ups, we have our downs. But when everybody's running, that's when you need to be running too. When everybody's running from you, run too. So let's read this article real quick. It said the average long-term U.S. mortgage rates eased again this week as Federal Reserve remains likely to raise its benchmark borrowing rate in its ongoing battle to bring down inflation. We're going to see the Fed possibly raise it again this month, which means that this may go up. This may go up to 6, 7%. So 5.3%. It's it's pretty good for now compared to what we're going to be looking at. I'm gonna skip that part. The Federal Reserve raised its benchmark last month 3/4 of a point, the biggest hike since 1994. Yes, indeed, they were attempting to battle inflation. They also acknowledged that rates could weaken the economy, but suggested that such steps were necessary to slow price increase. It's weakening the economy, gas prices. Get it, get that together. The Fed's unusually large rate hike came after, and food prices. Food is going up and down like the stock market. If you've been there, like grapes were $5, then they were $8. I seen them at $10. Then it went back down to $7. Then I seen it at $4.99. It's like, let's make up our minds, people. Home prices kept climbing in May. They will continue to climb because the people have to move. People have to move, and people want to buy. People have to move, and people want to buy. If we're So this is going to continuously happen. We have a lot of savvy buyers. I have one. I mean, this young lady is the savviest buyer. When we complete this deal, I'm going to tell you her story. I may not necessarily tell you her name. Maybe I'll bring her on here if she would like. But other than that, very, very savvy buyers that are still willing to buy. So I don't think we're going to really see crazy home prices drop drastically. Maybe until the end of 2023. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know about here in Florida because it seems like everybody wants to be here. It's a lot. Everybody's moving down. I'm taking buyers from Tennessee out tomorrow. Okay, don't tell my coach. In May of year earlier, there was 407,600, an all-time high. That's dating back to 1999. That's the 14.8% jump in May. Mortgage applications have declined, and refinancings are down 78%. This is huge. Now you mortgage guys are going to love us again. Some of you are stuck with us. I'm not going to lie, but some of you did leave the realtors and jump into refinances. So you made a bag off the refinances. Now you got to come back and woo us. I didn't see one mortgage dinner. I'm sorry, lunch. Mortgage guys take your real estate people out for lunch. I didn't see one, and maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't see one mortgage guy lender do a lunch. And they do lunches at nice places too. I mean, there's been several steakhouses, nice steakhouses. I think Morton's. I've seen Rain Dance. I've seen what's the Capital Grill. They're wooing. I didn't see anybody wooing last year and the year before, but they were wooing. Shouts out to the mortgage guys. Layoffs in the housing and lending sector have already begun. Last month, the online real estate broker Redfin said it was laying off 8% of its workers, and Compass said it was letting go of 450. I used to like Compass. I haven't really paid attention to them much since I joined the one and only EXP. They had an interesting model. Here's the issue that I had with them, though, is that they rely too much on borrowing money. Like it's one of those tech firm type deals, and a lot of things they did I wasn't excited about. Later on, I found out later on that they were doing it. I didn't find out while I was looking at them, but their business model was huge for realtors, and I think if they would have delved a little bit deeper into it, they would have they would have we wouldn't be seeing this 450 employees letting go. But that's just how it goes. They're definitely they seem more like a tech firm where they're borrowing money as opposed to being based on an actual business practice. It's more so based on a new model of real estate. So we'll see. Good luck with them. Their CEO seems cool. All right. All right. So let me see. Someone else said something. Ahura said, "I'm just nobody, man." No, everybody's somebody, Ahura. Everybody is somebody, 1000%. Okay, cool. We got into the real estate. Let's talk about the books of the month, guys. I am reading again, but I'm only reading one of them. Is the Four Agreements. The agreement I'm reading for the rest of this month is don't make assumptions. What's so cool about doing this is what Tony Robbins would call the reticular activating system, your RAS, where you start to recognize things once you put your attention towards it. So now that I'm putting my attentions towards not making assumptions, it's huge. Clarifying things, asking extra questions, etc., helps out when you want to really get to know and understand the person and really start listening. So this is huge, especially in sales. Stop assuming things. We don't really understand what people actually have going on. Um, but in order to be able to be a problem solver, because excuse me, that's what you have to do in sales. You need to listen, and you need to listen without making an assumption, which is tough if you don't practice it. So now that I'm practicing not making assumptions, I'm seeing it definitely in sales, definitely on the day to day. It brings my stress. It brings my stress down when I'm not making assumptions. All right, cool, guys. I've had this book and I read it and I don't remember one thing from it. I just remember it being gifted to me, and being told it was a great book, and I read it. I don't remember it, so I don't know how good of a book it is, but it ended up on my nightstand some kind of way. So this is what I will be reading along with the four agreements, the one agreement. I'm going to be reading The Way of the Superior Man. And I even remember having a discussion around it. So I'll be getting into it this month and just seeing where it takes me. It showed up for a reason, right? Okay, I didn't stop my screen share. Yeah, I'm back again. I guess let me put this out better. This is the book that I will be reading the month of July. What's remaining of it anyway. This is a nice sized book too. Let me see. About 200 pages. All right, cool. Let's get into some business, guys. Woo, I'm excited. Here's a guy that he just showed up on my radar in the last week to 2 weeks. He has some very short clips on YouTube, 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, nothing longer than that. You know, this person is kind of comes from Pena. Dan Pena. I don't know if you know who that guy is, but Dan Pena I think he called himself like the $30 billion, $60 billion guy. And he got that way from buying businesses. And what Dan Pena teaches, which is what this guy teaches as well, something similar, is where he buys businesses. He started off with gyms and now I guess he's graduated into bigger and better things. I haven't done huge research on him. But he's not selling anything, and he has some interesting thoughts in surrounding business and health. Of course, like I said, he comes from the gym side of it. And essentially, what a lot of people don't know, and I've done a little bit of research on this, is people who buy businesses, right? Especially smaller mom and pop ran businesses, because a lot of us are creating these kind of businesses, and this is where I'm attempting to for all of us to get out of this mindset, because you create a job for yourself, and what happens is that you become the business. So now when you go to sell the business, if it's not running efficiently, you'll have someone like Dan Pena or this guy Alex Hermosi, who comes in, they buy your business, more than likely do owner financing, which you more than likely a lot of people will do. They'll take it because they just want to get out of the business. They want to stop working 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day. And really 24 hours when you think about how much they think about these different businesses. That's what this guy does. He owns something called Acquisitionscom. At this point in time, I guess he's scaled high enough to where he's only taking on clients of three. If you have revenue of $3 million or more, and he'll take you in as one of his clients or possibly to buy your business or to help scale your business. There's a lot. Gary Vee, and if you ever checked out Gary Vee's old story, he talks about it a lot, where he was running his father's, they sold alcohol. He's running his father's alcohol business. They were doing, I want to say he always says it takes, I don't know if it's 3 or 6 million, but he took it from 3 or 6 million to 63 million. But when you hear 3 million, um, when you hear 3 million, you're like, that's a lot of money. But then we don't take into account the overhead, the marketing, the store costs, the employees. So you got people who are bringing in $3 million, and raise your hand if this is you, where you're bringing in maybe not 3 million, maybe you're bringing in 300,000, maybe you're bringing in 500,000, maybe you're bringing in 100,000. But by the time you finish paying your overhead, by the time you finish paying your employees, your marketing costs, whatever it is, what you take home is not much. So in Gary Vee's case, his father was making 3 million. I think he said that at the end they were pocketing, I want to say like 100 some thousand. And this is before they paid themselves. So of course his father had to get paid, and I believe he didn't even have marketing money. He had to figure out a way to do marketing. That's how he got so great with what he's doing now, using the arbitrage. Back then he used Google, because Google was, pennies on the dollars, especially for what they charge now, Google AdWords. And he said he was getting paid $30,000. So here's a guy who's running a business of $3 million. He's making $30,000. So for a guy like Alex, who possibly knows the liquor business, understands distribution, understands, how to take this business from here to here, him jumping in and telling this guy, like, listen, I'll give you, let's figure out what the profit is. Maybe let's call the Gary Vee. Let's say he made 10%, 300,000, which he didn't, but let's say he did. He made 10%, 300,000 for this guy, but he's working day, all day, 12, 16-hour days. You come in and you offer these people a little bit of cash. Say you offer them $30,000. Let me slow down, so you all can follow me. If you offer them $30,000, um, and he's liable to take it, and then you tell them, listen, and I'll also give you X amount a month, $5,000 a month after we do the numbers. Especially if you understand the business, especially if you understand how to scale the business, you have certain networks, etc. You can bring in certain, like, if you can bring something to this, you can add value to this business. And essentially, this is just like real estate. There's a lot of people who have issues with real estate. There's a lot of people who aren't resourceful, or excuse me, who just have a problem. They don't want to live here anymore. It's too much. They don't want to walk up and down the stairs. They're getting older. They don't want to mow the grass. The HOA is getting out of hand. They've gotten behind in taxes, so on, mortgage payments. Like right now, what we're going to end up seeing is we're going to end up, oh man, let me go through it. Let me go through it. So I'm real estate, right? We're going to see a lot of people lose their homes, not because of lack of money, but it's going to be because of lack of resourcefulness, lack of information, not reaching out. So people are going to lose their homes, and people are going to be ready to jump it. So right now there's going to be a period, because, and I'm really going to have to start putting back my investor hat on, because just like when we're talking about those businesses in real estate, you can start to do a lot of different option purchases. There's going to be a lot of option purchases, lease options purchases. And this is a great time for you start to learn and to start to understand these different options and purchases, because by 2023 I don't think it's going to be a bloodbath like it was in 2008. But there's going to be a lot of things to be able to pick up. So if you have the information and you're ready to do it, you may change your entire trajectory in life. Okay. All right, perfect. Here, let me get into this so I can I I get passionate about that kind of stuff, guys. All right, so let me bring up this Alex Hormozy and see where I took it, and let's listen to what he talks about in regards to businesses. He says there's 5 stages of businesses, and he's going to go through them. Share tab audio. Okay, so you should be able to listen to audio. If you can't hear it, let me know.
It's totally different, and they just continue this rabbit hole. And the false belief they have is,
I think I started. I don't know, how do you start it over?
I'm going to do all 3 and see which one works. When in reality is, you need to pick one and make it work, because all 3 can work, but none of them can work together.
Okay, let's see him go
There's
over.
5 stages that happen for any kind of behavioral change. One is uninformed optimism, right? Which is where the grass is greener and you're like, that looks exciting. So someone jumps into a new niche and they're like, this is awesome. Dentists make money. I'm going to go after dentists. Then they go to stage 2, which is informed pessimism. They now know that this is not nearly as cool as they thought it was. These guys have horrible front desks. They're not business acumen people. They're a pain in the ass to make decisions. They're overanalyzing. Cool. Stage
He talks really fast, so I'm gonna break it down. He said stage 1 of the business, especially if you find a niche or whatever, it's gonna be uninformed optimism. Like you're going in here and you're saying, "Oh man, this is too sweet. This opportunity is too good to be true. Like I can't believe everybody's not doing it, and I can't believe everybody's not doesn't have a vegan restaurant. You know, I can't believe everybody for real estate is not calling, people aren't calling expires and for sale by owners. I can't believe it's not butter. I kid, dad jokes. I can't believe people aren't targeting nurses and teachers, for buyers. Like this is the uninformed optimism. Then he spoke about the informed pessimism. This means that you jump in, maybe someone sold you a course, maybe someone told you, hey, is this easy, whatever. Then you jump in and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, there's a reason why this has not been exploited to the T. There's shortcomings, there's pitfalls to dealing with this different clientele. And at this point, like especially if you aren't making money, you start to magnify the negativeness of these clientels. Now, don't get me wrong, some of these people don't have the money. So figure out who has the money or who has the ability or who has the, as Jim would say, my mentor would say, find someone who has has control, some kind of control, can make decisions, right? So, but some people you should not be in business with at all. There's the opportunities are slim to none. Okay, if you let me making sure. Okay, you all follow me. All right, perfect. And then now he's going into stage 3.
3 is depression or determination. So this is where like champions are made.
Love it. He said stage 3 is either you go into depression or it's determination. So now this is interesting how he did it, because he said there's the 5 stages and you would think that one would follow the other. But instead he goes to the uninformed optimism. Now then he goes to the informed pessimism. That's when you find out all the pit holes of the business. And then it forks. It goes to either depression or it goes to determination. This is huge. Listen to this. This is gold.
Where people fall off, which is where most people fall off. And so there's 2 paths from here. Path number 1, which is what 90% of people do, is they jump back to stage 1 in a different niche.
Listen to it. So now if you go to depression, now you jump back. I'm gonna tell you about how I fell a victim to this with real estate. It was dealing with certain coaches. Almost all the coaches are successful and they work. But then when you get to a point where it's informed pessimism and you start to say, whoa, you start to question, and then you come so far, a month, 2, 3 months in, 4 months in, 5 months in, and then you jump off and you go with someone else, or some people really just get out of real estate at that point in time, right? Because it can be sales and relationships. You got it. Some people jump off. So 90%, this is where you start to see these numbers. It's 90% because a lot of people jump off, and some people either run out of money, so they have to go get a job. Some people either just their significant others, SOs, are at the point of leaving. Some of them leave. So there's decisions that need to be made at these different stages, especially if the finances aren't coming in, especially if the finances aren't there. And I'm gonna tell you what, here's another thing. People say, oh, 6 months of finances. You could burn through all that. And I want to get in, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit after this.
And they start over again, and they say, you know what? It's going to be chiropractors. Chiropractors are the guys it's totally different. And they just continue this rabbit hole. And the false belief they have is, I'm going to do all three and see which one works. When in reality is you need to pick one.
I love that. A lot of people say we're going to do everything. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Pick one thing. I promise you guys, if there's nothing else that you take, you need to take everything from this video. But if there's something that you take from this video, you need to pick something. You need to have a main course. And then start thinking about branching out or vertical integration. And then even with that, like, you need to pick something. You need to say no to a lot of things.
One and make it work, because all three can work, but none of them can work together.
I love it. I love it. All of them cannot work together. Let me stop this screen share. Pick something. Pick something, guys. And then he got into something that I want to talk about. And I started getting to it because a lot of us are told, you know, you need to save up X amount of money. You need to have this amount of money, etc. You will, and I got this from Mark Cuban once. I remember I used to watch Shark Tank years ago. I haven't watched it recently, but Shark Tank was a great, especially at the beginning. If you go back and watch the newer episodes, because they gave you so much information. So in Shark Tank, Mark Cuban says that I can give you $1 million. He didn't. I don't have the figures, the same figures, but he's like, I basically said I can give you about $1 million, and you will find a way to burn through it. That's why it's so important as a budding and newer entrepreneur to be more resourceful than to be relying on your money. Be very resourceful, because when you act like you're down to zero, you start to become resourceful, because there's no amount of money that can't be burned through. I remember Kanye West spoke about it. He had 50 million, $100 million, whatever it was, attempting to start a clothing line. And that was a drop in a bucket. That's why he had to go partner with Adidas and these other different huge brands, because he did not, even at 50 to 100 million to $100 million, he did not have enough money. It was a drop in the bucket. That's why people sign these deals with LVMH, sign these deals with Nike, etc., because it's a drop in the bucket. And you hope, and if you do start one, you're just hoping that these guys buy you out at some point in time. You hope you make a little bit of splash and get bought out, because you're talking about these are brands and businesses that have been around for decades, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years. They understand it. They have a hold on the market. All right, cool, guys. It's a full moon. Like I said before, I got these crystals. I'm excited about them. I'm going to put them out in the moon. They say that charges it. I'm excited about it. I want you guys to have an excellent week. Second week of the second half. Let's go, guys. Let's make it a great rest of the year. Half of the year. Let's make it a great rest of the month. Let's make it a great rest of the week. I can't wait to see you guys on Friday. Remember to follow us on Community Beacon. Other than that, man, you all have a great day. Peace.
A man reproduces himself through his child, so when he leave here, he can just smile. But I see fit to stay here a while, maybe buy a timeshare somewhere, rock bumwear, beach chair, write a book each year. You can write yourself out of your blessings, wreck your Lambo the first stages by driving too reckless. Time is too precious, these some obvious lessons. Please remind me to watch my step while I balance on edge and ski on the slopes of life. Slide down the Ave at night, watching them graphing graffiti on walls, that's the sight. Cars from Germany, I be pushing the fastest type. Looking at real estate, brother, I need the asking price. Imagine another rapper making me perspire. I got more styles and more flows, plus I'm much flyer. I got more heights to reach.